to busy living sober, busy living sober, busy living sober. It is episode 450. How is everybody today? Welcome back. You're back. If you're here for the first time, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad to have you here. And I just want to send hugs to everybody. Love to everybody this morning. Happy Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. Here we go. Oh my gosh, so much to talk about today. And I just want to say, wow, how we stay in the light when there's so much craziness around us. There's so much craziness around us. It's interesting. I want to start off with something that isn't that light, but I'm just going to talk about it anyway. I got an email this weekend from an old friend. It didn't have any words to it or anything. It was just a link to a video from Dr. Joshua Coleman about estrangement. And I, of course, then went and watched this video. I didn't watch the whole thing, I only watched half of it. And Dr. Coleman is a psychiatrist out of California. I think he's in San Francisco. And he talks about estrangement today and where all these kids today are like cutting off their parents and what you should do and how we should maybe fall on the sword. I say, like, write these letters and say we are sorry and do all these things that don't really seem or feel right to me personally. I've read Dr. Coleman's book. I've been to some of his seminars, his live seminars that I've signed up for before. And it's so crazy. I feel like we live in this world where literally 2 plus 2 does not equal 4 anymore. It's like, wait a minute, what's going on? There's no more like respect for the parents. There's no more like just automatic love for our parents today. And especially here in America, I think. And every time I talk about this, people write to me and say, oh my gosh, I'm going through the same thing. I have so many friends and people that I had no idea that are dealing with this are dealing with it. And rather than me feeling angry about it, I just want to come to peace about it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be angry about it. I don't want to think about it every day. I don't want to think like, what did I do wrong? And what could I have done differently? Because I feel like yesterday's gone. Last year is gone. What I did raising my kids is like a long time ago. And now we're here in today in 2024. And thinking that I need to go back and make amends for stuff that I don't even really know that I did, because I believe we all wake up in the morning wanting to do the best we can do, right? Obviously, I drank a lot when my kids were little. I didn't get sober till my oldest was 10 years old. And things that happened during that, were what happened. And I've apologized and I've tried to change and I've gotten sober. And if people want to carry around the stuff that I did when I was in my active addiction, I can't change them. All I can do is change me, right? I can't change me. And to think I'm going to go write a letter or do something that doesn't feel right to myself just to get something in the end doesn't seem authentic, does it? It's like, I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to go and apologize for things that I don't even realize I didn't do to intentionally hurt anybody. I don't think any of us do. I don't think any of us intentionally hurt other people. I think hurt people hurt people. I've heard that saying before. But I truly don't believe that us going back saying we're sorry is more about cleaning our slate. Like when I go and I talked about this on episode 440 about when I was in Medjugorje and how I went and I said I went to confession for the first time in 40 years. And now I'm actually going to go this weekend on Saturday. Just made an appointment to go to confession again. And I will go repent my sins to God and to the Blessed Mother. And that's all I can do. I can't change the way my children are and the way they want to treat me. I can't change that. And me writing a letter that's unauthentic is not going to change it. They need to get to where they need to get to within themselves to decide whether or not they want to have a relationship with me. Is it painful? Beyond beyond painful. It's kind of crazy. I went to when I was at church on Sunday and I heard the homily, and the priest here at St. Vincent's in Delray Beach, Florida, was talking about how they have an adoration at the chapel that's open all the time. It's open 24 hours a day. You can go there. And he said people go there for like, and he named four things that are bothering people. And it's like marriage problems. Okay, I'm kind of having that. Then they had financial problems, having that, check that. Then they said health problems. Thank God I'm not having that. Thank you, God. Um, and then moving and like all the transition of moving. And as everybody knows who's been listening to me for a long time, I moved a lot in the past 6 years, a lot. Many houses, many different places I've gone. I've been here in this house for over a year and I want to stay here now. But all those things are on my heart and all those things are bothering me. And I would say the number one thing is this relationship with my son, which is so hard. And when Dr. Coleman was talking about it and it being a phase right now that's happening in our society of this, just turning your parents off because they don't make you happy. They've said something. The parents have said something that make the kids go, you know what? I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to deal with it. It's like people today or young people today, younger people, do not want to deal with these issues. So they just say, you know what, I'm taking that person out of my life. I'm not having conversation with them. I'm not going back. I'm not going to try and discuss what our issues were. I'm not going to try and work it out. I'm just going to close the door and put a big steel wall between us and not answer your calls, not pick up your texts, block you on all sorts of things, which has happened to me. And honestly, this has been happening in my family generational. It's not just today. My grandmother, God bless her in heaven, I hope. She didn't talk to her siblings. My mother did not talk to her siblings. I don't talk to my siblings. My kids now, one of them doesn't talk to me. Did I show them that? Was it shown to them that people had estrangement and turned people out of their lives and said, I'm done talking to you? Yes. Yes, I showed him that. I've shown all three of my kids that. Did I want everything to be different? Did I think that when I got sober, everything was going to be hunky dory and everything was going to be perfect and I was going to change this whole generational thing? Of course I did. That's what I've wanted for so long, is to change everything. I thought, oh, I'm going to change and everything else around me is going to change and everything's going to be beautiful and everything's going to be amazing. And I'm not going to have all these heartaches and it's all going to be great, right? I'm going to put down this drink and everything's going to be good. But it didn't happen. If you had told me 5 years ago that my son was never going to talk to me again, I would be like, that's never happening. But it's happened. And it's painful. It is so painful. But I can't change it. And I can't spend my life staring at this closed door. Like right now, I'm looking at my front door, it's closed. I can't stare at that door that's closed. I've got to go look at the window and open it and open new things into my life. And I can pray for my son and I can pray for his wife and I can think of them and I can send them the best wishes, which I do every day. I wish them both the best. I know my son has a new job. I congratulate him. It's amazing. And his wife just got a huge job. And I'm just like so happy and proud of them both. And I'm so excited for them. But I'm not part of it. I also heard that they bought a house. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting for them. I'm so happy for them. Their dreams are coming true. I wish I could be a part of it. It's so sad because I'm missing so much of their lives, but they don't want me in it. And it's like, what am I going to do? Force my will? I can't force it. I can't go be something that I'm not. I can't go write a letter. I can't go get on a plane and fly to their house and knock on their door and say, please let me be in your life. Please pay attention to me. They don't want to. They don't want to for whatever reason. And does it even matter? None of us can change our past. None of us. We can learn from our mistakes. We can work on being better people. We can work on being more loving, more kind, but we can't change what's already happened. You know, it's like doing the same mistake over and over and over and over and over again. I've been in one of those cycles in my life recently where I've been doing the same thing and I've been expecting different results and it's not changing. It's not changing. So what do I have to do? What I've learned on this journey that I've been on, especially since going to Medjugorje, is that there is a God. I've always known that there's a God, and I've always believed in my heart that there's something bigger than me. But did I ever truly just put all of my problems, give them to God, pray about them? Did I really do that? Or would I go and I'd say, Here, I'm going to give you this, and then I'd take it back? And I'd say, You know what? I'm not going to give it to you. I'm actually going to try and fix this myself. I'm going to try and fix this myself. It's like getting sober. I can't imagine if I had just gone and just white knuckled it by myself and sat in my house and just said, Oh, I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink today. I had to go and leave my house and I had to go to a 12-step meeting. That was what worked for me. I needed help. I needed help. I need help today. I talked to my sponsor this morning before even recording this. I had a conversation with her. I had a conversation with her yesterday. Um, I can't do any of this by myself. And I give things to God. I start my day. You know, that Hallow app has been just like a game changer in my life. As you guys who have listened to me all the time know, I am finishing my consecration with Mary. It's going to be over on Saturday, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to go to they recommend going to confession right away, and I'm going to do that. And Mary has it's changed so much. I didn't realize. I didn't we don't realize till we realize. It's like we don't until we get to the place where we get to that we are like, oh my gosh, I see this now. When I was invited by Ann Vucek to go to Medjugorje, I thought, okay, I'm going to go on this trip. Now, did I really put a lot of thought into it? No. Did I have any expectations? No. Did I even know? I had known from my friend Amanda Borghese about it. She talked to me about it, about how many times she had been there and the miracles she had seen. But again, I was still kind of one of those naysayers. I was like, I don't know. Is this all really true? Um, and I came back and actually I met this really amazing woman last night when I went to church. On Mondays, they're saying the rosary at 5:45 at my church for peace in the world. And I went yesterday and I met this amazing woman and she was talking to me about how her dad had been to Medjugorje twice. And she said, well, what I've heard is that when you go to Medjugorje, the magic happens when you get home. And I have to testify for that. That is so true. I had no idea. Okay. You guys, no idea. Again, I don't believe I would be sober today if I didn't have God. I don't think that would be, I don't think that it was a human thing that got me sober. I think it was really, truly turning my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him, which is one of the steps. And realizing for one that my life was step one is that I'm powerless. I'm powerless over everything. But still, even though I know all this stuff and I've been doing this for almost 18 years, to truly believe that I have no control over other people. I can sit here and I can wish things and I can want things to happen and I can write letters and I can send text messages and I can ask people to forgive me. But until that person's ready to accept my forgiveness, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I can keep knocking at these doors and going, oh my gosh, please let me in. Please let me in. But it was until I let go. That's step 3, let go, truly let go to God. And then to be introduced to Mary again on this pilgrimage to Medjugorje was amazing to realize she keeps appearing. You might think I'm crazy right now. When she's not appearing, Elizabeth, what are you talking about? But she is, and she's appearing and she's saying, say the rosary once, twice a day. Fast on Wednesdays and Fridays. I haven't done that yet. I am going to attempt to do it today. That's my big attempt today. You can have bread and you can have water, but I'm going to attempt to do this because I don't want to feel like I'm shoving things, like I'm trying to make things happen. And it's a control thing. It's a huge control thing. It's like when we're little, I remember raising kids and we would ask these kids, what are you going to be when you grow up? Like, they have any idea? They can have dreams, but to think that we really have any control over it, obviously we have control over what we say, if we use our brains. We have control over whether we go left or right. We have control over if we're going to go and ask for help. We have control over those things, but the outcomes we have no control over, right? We think that if we do all these things right, everything's going to turn out perfectly. That's what I thought. I thought I've changed everything. Everything's been perfect. I've done everything right. All three of my kids are doing really well. We're going to have a great life forever. It's going to be amazing forever, but it isn't. It's complicated. We're human beings. We're sinners at our core, right? I mean, we all are trying our best, and some days we fall short. Some days we fall really short. Some days we're like, oh my gosh, the only thing right I did today wasn't drink. Okay, that's the only thing I did right. Everything else, I said mean things about people. I gossiped. I talked about my neighbors. I did these things that are not really the nicest things to do, but I need to repent those things myself. If somebody else wants to carry hatred or ill will towards me, that's about them. It's not about me. All I can do is try each day. All I can do is try. I can't change what other people do. I can't change as much as I want the way my husband does things. I can't change them. Can I ask him to change? For sure. Can I be mean and say, use things that I think that are gonna make I'm gonna make him do this because I'm gonna say this to him and I'm gonna say that to him and I'm gonna persecute him and I'm gonna say mean things and I'm gonna say, do you know who you are? And do all these mean things and say all these mean things, which aren't very Christian and aren't very nice. And I can say all these things and he still might not change. He still may not change. I can sit here and beat my head against the wall going, why? I can go back and go, why did I even get into this relationship? I can go all the way back to like, and what purpose does that do? I can see where my mistakes are. I can own my mistakes. I can own where I went off the rails and made this choice instead of that choice, these decisions instead of those decisions. But it's all part of my journey. And if I believe, which I do at my core, that God made me absolutely perfect and gave me the option to make a choice, and if I make bad choices, that's on me. That's on me. In my acts of alcoholism, I can blame it on the booze, but I'm the one that took the sip. I'm the one that knew what was going to happen once I had that sip, even though I thought there was no other option but to have another sip and have another sip. But that's a phenomenon of craving that I have with alcohol. So I put it down, and life is still here. I'm still searching. I want light. I want peace. Even though I'm living in this crazy world with all of you guys, and we are all living in this same crazy world together, where 2 plus 2 does not equal 4. Our president is now, been indicted on 34 counts. All of it. Why didn't that happen to other presidents that have done similar things? Why is it just happening to him? Why isn't it happening to everybody? Why isn't it the same thing for everybody? Well, it just isn't. So what do? Do you go crawl up in a ball and drink again because it's going to get better? Because it's not, because all the problems still stay there, right? It's kind of crazy. Trump never drank. It's kind of crazy. He never drank. I think he plays golf or does eats McDonald's. Maybe I don't know what he does to help him when he's fearful, but we all get fearful. But I don't want to be fearful anymore. I don't want to be scared. I don't want to keep going to this darkness that's in my life. It's all in my life, and I have to make a choice to change. I could sit here and stare at that door all day, that closed door, and feel the sadness about not having a relationship with my son, with what's going on with my finances. I could sit here and just like dwell on it all day, or I could look at the plus things that are going on in my life, the light that's going on in my life, the magic I feel inside of myself when I go and I go to church and when I go and I say the rosary. I mean, yesterday I went to church and again at 5:45 to say this, say this rosary with a bunch of strangers in the room and to say the rosary. And I got on my knees and tears just welled up in my eyes and fell down my face. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I feel so blessed that I can do this, that I can get up, get in my car or ride my bike. I could have ridden my bike. I could have even walked, but I drove my car, um, and went over to the church. And I didn't feel so powerless anymore. Prayer for me works like that, prayer is like literally giving it away. It's like, please, will you take this? Will you take this? I don't know if any of you guys get for those of you that don't get my newsletter, you should sign up for it. By the way, go to elizabethchance.com and it just prompts you right there. It says sign up for my newsletter. And my newsletter last week, I talked about how prayer works. And I don't know how long ago I've said this story, and if you've heard it too much or whatever, I'm just going to say it again. So it's very interesting. I when I was first getting sober, I was, I'd just gotten divorced, and I my ex-husband was drinking a lot and I had no control, right? Talk about being powerless. And I was so angry at him. I was just so angry. I was like, oh my gosh, why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? I'm like, I'd lost my kids were going to him 50% of the time. So, it was every Monday and Tuesday they were with me. Wednesday they were with him, and then every other weekend with him. So it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday they were with him, Saturday, Sunday, and then come back to me Monday, and then Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday to go to him. But so it would switch off every week, and I knew that he was drinking to the point that it was not good. And my kids would tell me about it, and I'd be so angry, and I'd call my sponsor and I'd be like, oh my gosh, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing this, he's doing that. And I'd complain, complain, complain. My sponsor would say to me, you need to pray for him. What? You want me to pray for this guy? It's my ex-husband. I can't stand him, what he's doing. He's drinking to the extreme. He's putting our kids in danger. Da, da, da. I mean, the reasons why I didn't like him were obvious and I think pretty valid. But she's like, you can't do anything about that. You're going to have to pray for him. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to pray for him. That's what I thought. I thought, I don't want to pray for him. I want to get a Ouija doll and put pins in him. That's what I want to do. I don't want to pray for him. She said, well, do you want to get better? And all I wanted to do was get better. That's all I want to do today is get better. Still, I constantly want to get better. So she tells me to go pray for him. Like, all right, I don't know if I can pray for him. I don't know if I can. She goes, we'll try. So at the end of meetings, they say the Lord's Prayer. And sometimes they just say the serenity prayer. And it says, they also say, pray for the sick and suffering in and outside of this room. Now they say that on Zoom too. So in and outside this room, you have to pray for somebody. So every time they said that, and I went to meetings every single solitary day back then. And every day at the end of the meeting, I would think of my ex-husband and I'd say a prayer for him. God, please watch over him. God, please watch over him. God, please watch over him. Please pray he gets sober one day. Please, God, please, please, God, please, God. And I did this for years and years and years. And I'd pray for him and I'd pray for him and I'd pray for him. And I'd have dirty, mean thoughts at the same time. And I'd be mad at him at the same time. But then I'd say a prayer for him every day. It was kind of like I'd give him over and then I'd take him back and talk bad about him. But I'd always say, God, please watch over him. Please watch over him. Please watch over him. And God's doesn't always work on my time frame. So I would do this and I do this and I do this. And I pray and I pray and I pray and I wait for him to call me and say something like, oh, guess what? I want to get sober. Da, da, da. Didn't happen like that. God's got a funny sense of humor in some ways. I don't think it is kind of funny to my kid's dad now, but so I'm sitting there and I pray for him. And finally one day I I called him over to my house about one of our kids I was having an issue with. And I said, can you come over? And he said, yeah, I'll be over there. So he comes over and we talk about, well, how we're going to fix this problem that we're having with this one child. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go pay a parking ticket. I'm like, okay, have fun. 10 minutes later, my phone rings. It's him. It's my kid's dad. Hey, Liz. He's the only person who calls me Liz. I'm like, yes. He's like, you need to come pick me up. I'm like, where? He's like, at the police department. And I'm like, why? And he said, because I'm about to get arrested for a DUI. If you don't pick me up, they're going to arrest me. Or if somebody doesn't pick him up. And he thought to call me. And today, he actually said this to me a couple months ago. He was like, can you believe I called you out of all people in the world? I called my ex-sober wife to pick me up at the police station. I said, that must have been God's intervention. And so he calls me and I say, yeah, sure, I'll be right there. And I get to the police station and the police officer that was there, I knew him from sight because he had been a coach for the boys crew team. My daughter rode crew, so I knew who the boys coach was, and I'd seen him all around because Wayne Radnor, where I raised my kids, not a huge town, so I knew all the police and I knew who he was. And he was kind of like gave me a look like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "That's my kid's dad." He's like, and he looked at my kid's dad and pointed his finger at him and said, get in her car. I want to talk to you. So the father of my kids went and got into my car. He was sitting in the passenger seat. Police officer looked at me and said, do you know he has a drinking problem? And I said, I do. He said, well, he's an alcoholic. I said, I know. And he said, well, if he gets back into that car today, I will arrest him for drinking while intoxicated. And I said, okay, he won't do it. And he said, okay. So we leave the car. I get in the car with him. And I say to him in my, of course, not nice way, I'm like, so are you ready? Are you ready to finally be done? Because if you aren't done, if you aren't going to quit drinking and you aren't going to go to rehab, then you're not seeing your kids anymore. And I threatened, of course, threatened. I'm like, I will go hire somebody to break your legs. I mean, literally, I was crazy. And I said, I want you to go to treatment. And he's like, well, I need to think about it. I said, okay, well, you think about it, but I'm going to go make some phone calls. What do you need me to get you before you go? Of course, a couple cartons of cigarettes. I said, okay, got that. And he goes, I'm going to go think about it. So I went and I get him couple cartons of cigarettes. I make some phone calls. I get him a bed at a rehab and we go. He just celebrated 10 years, by the way, you guys, just recently, 10 years continuous sobriety. And he went and he got sober. My kids got their dad back. My kids got their dad back. And you might say, well, that's just a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. I have been praying and praying and praying. And it's not about me that he got sober. It's about him. It's about my children having their dad back. But when we say prayer doesn't work, it does. It just might not be on our time frame. We can't ever give up hope. We can't give up hope. while we are walking on this planet, while we are breathing our air, while our lungs are still working, while we are still alive, we can pray. We can pray, and it can change things, and it can make things different that we never thought were going to be different. And God can give us answers. The Blessed Mother can give us answers. We might not like the answers, but they will present themselves. Praying is when we talk to God, and meditation is when we listen. When we listen, all I hear most of the time when I'm listening is, let go, Elizabeth, let go. I've got it. But of course, I don't want to trust that, right? I don't want to trust that. But when I go and I tell you this story that happened with my kid's dad, I realize that it works. Prayer works. It's, again, just might not be my time frame. I can't change anybody. I can't. I can't change anybody. I can't stare at closed doors. I can't just wish things were different. I can't stay in a pity party and sit there and go, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. We all have that, right? We all have stuff that we cannot control. We cannot control what's going to happen at the ballot box. We can go and place our ballots. We can't control what the prices are going to be of milk. We can't control what the prices are going to be at the gas tank. We can't control any of those things. We can control if we go to Amazon and say, oh, I'm just going to buy this because I really need it, but it all adds up. We have to sit there and we have to pay attention to that. Maybe times were different 5 years ago, and we could go and we could buy things that we just wanted to buy, and it was all worked out and we could afford everything, but it's not like that today. We have a challenge now. Now it's harder. We can't go and do everything we want to do. We have to make choices that are harder today. We've been having a really easy time of it until now. And here we are. And focusing on all the stuff that we can't do and focusing on all the negative, we've got to also focus on the positive. What is good? What can you change? How can you pray? How can you get help for yourself? What can you do? What is in your power? What is in your power? It's in your power to go and pray. It's in your power to meditate. It's in your power to get outside and do something for yourself physically, whatever that is. Yesterday, I'm not going to lie to you guys, not yesterday, Monday, I was in a bad way. I got up, all this stuff with my marriage and some finances were really overwhelming to the point that I was like crying. I called one of my best friends who's in Vermont, and I'm like crying, and I'm on the phone with her, and I'm crying and I'm crying and I'm crying. And she's like, what are you going to do? Like, all you can do is accept where you are. Accept where you are. I accepted where I was. I went on a long, long walk. Came back. I didn't have a lot to do yesterday. I could have given myself stuff to do, but I didn't. I watched tennis. I needle pointed. I called my sponsor, and she said, get outside and do more exercise. I was like, what? I don't want to do more exercise. I mean, luckily, God will, thank God, I do have a pool in my backyard. I got my pool, and I swam 30 laps. I was like, okay, I'm going to go swim. I'm going to go swim. I hadn't swam in a really long time, but I swam. And then I got out and I painted. And my paintings are, I put 2 of my paintings up on my website. If you want to go see them, they're for sale. I have 2 for sale right now. And I have more that I'm working on. And I'm trying to change the finances. I'm doing whatever I can that's possible for me. I started a Patreon. If you didn't see it, it's out there as well. You can sign up for my Patreon, get some special stuff. I've got some swag in my store. You can buy some with my new spoonbill, which is like my favorite bird. and it's a pink bird that flies in the sky, and I see it against the first time I saw one on Amelia Island, I was like, "What? That is a pink bird flying in the sky." Just in there, sign of peace. So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, so I have to have that be instead of the compass, I want it to be this bird that's a sign of peace." So this spoonbill, this pink bird that's just totally amazing, and its beak looks like a spoon, and I always paint spoonbills. So I changed my logo to a spoonbill, and now it's on my swag. So go check out my store. Um, I am doing what I can too. And then I went and I prayed for peace in the world, and I prayed for peace within all of you guys, everybody that's out there. I pray for peace for all of you. And I pray and I say this rosary that I bought. And well, actually, somebody, my friends, Mo and Alfred gave me this in Medjugorje, and I pray it every day. And I know God is listening. And again, it might not be on my time frame that I'm going to get these answers, but I'm not going to give up. And I'm not going to go pick up a drink because I feel so powerless. Because this gives me power. Prayer is power, right? It gives me power. What the outcome is, I don't know, but it just gives me the power to go, okay, I'm going to pray for something and I'm going to give it to God and I'm going to give it to the Blessed Mother, and I don't need to change. And I just have to trust that thing's going to change. If I keep doing the next right thing, everything's going to work out. And you might think, oh my gosh, this girl's totally crazy. She thinks that, like, but I know I've seen God work. I've seen prayer work. I've seen the light. I've watched people that come into the rooms, the 12-step rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I've seen people change. I've seen people come in downtrodden, just in the most miserable way ever, just lost from alcohol and drugs. I've seen their light gone. I've seen their soul when they're just like, it's nothing's there. They're just barely here. They're just up. They're just breathing, but they want to change. And I watch them change. And it's like, not doesn't take forever. Like in 30 days, they change. It's like, wait a minute, their light turns on. They start to shower more. Their smile comes back. The light in their eyes comes back. I've watched this. So I know it works. I know it works. We think that our life was so much grander. I think back to what it was like, 18 years ago when I was drinking at this time. And my life was completely drama. It was like watching The Housewives of New Jersey, which, by the way, I used to love, and now I can't watch it anymore. It's so bad. It is so bad that actually people talk to each other like this and they appear on television like this. It's like, what example are we showing anybody from this? It's just terrible. It's dark, dark, dark. Cannot watch it anymore. I used to love it. Oh, last night I watched it and I was like, oh my, never again. Cannot waste my time doing that. I'm going to watch The Passion of the Christ, which I'm watching that, and I'm watching the oh my gosh, I just had a brain, you know what? The Chosen. I'm watching that show right now. It's on Peacock, and there's 3 seasons. And this new person I met at church told me about it, and I'm like, I've got to go watch this. So I started watching that last night. But we have to feed the light. There's dark all around us. There's drama all around us, even when we're sober. But we don't have to jump in and we don't have to partake unless we want to. We don't have to go back and think, oh my gosh, when I was drinking, I was so much more fun. When I could go bar humping, when I could drink with my husband, when I could drink with my wife, it was so much more fun. This is so much harder now. It's not harder. Life isn't easy. I don't know whoever said it was going to be, but you get to make the choice today of what you want to do, where you want to go, if you want to hang out in a pity party or not, if you want to change things, if you want to pray rather than going, I'm not going to pray, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to sit in my wallow of my pity party, at least maybe do something a little different. Maybe get on your knees and say, God, please help me. That could be it. Or if you just, when you go to bed, get on your knees. God, thank you for keeping me sober. Some way to get out of you. It's what's been working for me. I promise you, it's been working for me like nobody's business. It's the days like yesterday where I just made it me, 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 me. sad, 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 sad. I hate what's going on in my life. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm just going to sit here and with needlepoint and feel sorry for myself. No, get up, get outside, go for a walk, change where you are. What is it? Move a muscle, change a thought. Move a muscle, change a thought. You can move a muscle and change your thoughts. You can get on your knees and you can pray. You can go for a walk. You can go for a swim. You can do whatever you need to do for you. But prayer really works, my friends. It works like nobody's business. Get one of these rosaries. If you need a rosary, I have two that I brought from Medjugorje that are actually have been prayed for by the Blessed Mother and have been prayed over by actually Father Dan Rahill, who's coming on the podcast soon. 2 weeks, he's coming on from Tennessee, Nashville. If somebody wants a rosary, you don't have one. I have a really fun bling bling one. Then I have a more traditional one with stones. Very plain and beautiful in its own respect. One has got a lot of bling. It's crazy. But I have those two available. If you're interested, reach out to me. Reach out to me. And the first two people who reach out to me and say, I want a rosary, I will mail it to you. So send me an email at elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. It's the easiest way to get me. Elizabeth, ELIZABETH @elizabethchance.com. Go to my Patreon, see if you want to, go investigate it. There's a link on my website, elizabethchance.com or busylivingsober.com that will also take you to the Patreon. There's a big banner, thanks to Caroline. Go click that. We'll take you there. Go check out my swag. Go check out my artwork. And know this, you are not alone. You got this. We can do this all together. We can do this as a we, not as an I. We need we. We need more of we, less of I. We need more of together than apart. We need to be coming together as a people, not as a person, but as a people. We need to love more, less judgment, more love, more kindness to ourselves, less staring at closed doors, having hope, having the light. It's what I want, and it's what I want for you too. If you have any topics you want me to talk about, reach out to me as well. Elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. Subscribe to my show, please. If you like today's podcast, please share it with your friends and maybe office workers, family, share it, share it, share it. We really want to get these numbers up. I want to be able to, maybe help to my financial life. I've never done that before. I've never been financially, in a place where I can do it myself. And it's one of my dreams. And I think it's going to come true. I know it's going to come true. It's just going to be on God's time, not Elizabeth's time. So until next time, everybody, keep getting busy, living sober. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great one. Again, reach out to me. If either, two of you want a rosary, let me know. Maybe four of you are going to reach out. I don't know what I'll do then, but reach out to me. Let me know if you want one. And we all have to keep praying because, we got to get through this together. We can't get through this apart. We got to get through this together. All right, everybody, take care. Sending big hugs and big kisses to everybody, and I'm rooting you all on. Take care, everybody. Until next time, keep getting busy, living. Bye, everybody.